In this video, we are going to be cracking open two of the wildest unsolved puzzles in Call of Duty Zombies' history, straight from Black Ops 2's TranZit launch map. We've got a German World War II bunker stuck in an American cornfield, and a rumoured second bus route that has had the community in a frenzy speculating for over a decade. Why is Nacht, Untoten even here? Was Bus Route B real, or were we all just chasing fog? Literally. I've dug through the leaked developer documents to get the truth, and let's just say, one reveal will flip everything you thought you knew, while the other might finally bury a legend. Stick with me, because we are going deep, and you won't believe where this ride ends. Let's begin. Let's jump straight into the weirdest site in TranZit. You are trudging through the fog, dodging denizens, and suddenly there it is, the Nacht Untoten building, plopped in a random cornfield between the farm and power station. If you played World at War, you of course know Nacht Untoten as the original Zombies map, a beat-up German airfield bunker where 4 Marines fought the undead. Then Black Ops 1 swapped in the Ultimis crew, Richthofen, Takeo, Nikolai and Dempsey, which Jason Blundell had once alluded to being canon in an interview. But here's the head scratcher. Nacht Untoten belongs in Germany, not Washington State, or I guess Poland cum D machine. So what's it doing thousands of miles away? Surrounded by corn in the middle of nowhere in America, of all places. Fans have been tossing ideas around forever. Some thought it was just a nostalgic nod, a little wink from Treyarch, something cool to find in the cornfield. Others speculated the US government hauled it over to study, or perhaps recreated it. A wilder take, the rockets from Moon temporarily shifted it across the ocean. For years it's been a guessing game, until those leaked developer documents dropped the real story, and it's way bigger than anyone expected. Buried in the files like Zombie 3.0 text and TranZit story document, there's a bombshell about what Treyarch had planned. One line reads, original characters, dead in prototype, you need to free them to start their quest in World at War. But what does this mean? OG characters are of course what we now know as Ultimis, Richthofen and the gang. The term Primis plus Ultimis to define the two hadn't even been invented yet. The Primis characters themselves didn't even exist yet. Prototype is of course the codename for Nacht Untoten, the World at War map name in the files, since it was quite literally the prototype for Zombies as a mode. The plan was a side quest where you, as the Victis crew, roll up to Nacht Untoten in the TranZit map, find Ultimis dead inside, and revive them to kick off their World at War journey. Yes, that is right. Likely, before this building simply contained jet gun parts as the launch version, it was more centralized around this Easter egg and more open. Reviving Ultimis here would also have galactic story implications, both for the cycle and the original characters. The cut quest shows Treyarch were cooking up the early concepts for the cycle way before Black Ops 3 spelled it out verbatim. You know the cycle, Ultimis and Primis trapped in a loop, replaying events across timelines. We saw it in the Giant and Eisendrach, but this TranZit plan proves they were planting seeds earlier on. TranZit is set in 2035, after Moon's 2025 earth-shattering chaos. Reviving Ultimis here to start their quest in World at War, set decades earlier, means Victis in the future would reset their past. That's the cycle kicking in, looping time across the ether. It also solves the nagging Black Ops 1 question. Why do we play as Ultimis in Nacht Untoten's remake instead of the original Marines? The documents suggest Victis reviving them in TranZit slots Ultimis into that bunker post-World at War, making their Black Ops 1 presence canon, as Jason would go on to later confirm.
Just before we started Origins, which was DLC 4 for Black Ops 2, we sat down and we were saying like, okay, how do we put a container around all this story? Because there's no such thing as a one-off map in Zombies. It's all canon, it's all connected. And so we sat down and worked out the next, what's going to be 4 years worth of content in a kind of structural.
Now obviously per the cycle being canon, the overarching one I'm talking about, not like earlier concepts we saw in Buried or Shangri-La, exclusive to just those maps, but playing a role in the larger scope of things, and especially with Mob of the Dead. This, of course, isn't canon, however, the original characters being on the maps is canon, as they weren't originally there, but then they were, as Monty says on Chronicles.
Nacht der Untoten. That translates as Night of the Dead. I learned that tonight. Been trying to scrub up on my German, you see. Anyway, it happened in an old concrete building on an airfield somewhere in, I don't know where. I remember it being really small, simple by today's standards. I think there was a fog. Not a lot of it, certainly not coming into the building itself. You know what I just realized? You weren't even there. At least not at first. It was some other random, forgettable soldiers that had the misfortune to live through that horrible night, or Nacht, as it was actually known. Yeah, I speak German now. Electroshock therapy, chemically engineered beverages, hordes of undead Nazis. Find the power to unite and send them back to their graves. Can you believe that's how I actually described it back then? It was an asylum. It was also a horrible, terrible, grim, depressing place. I'd give you a full explanation of everything that happened there, but it would only be horrible, terrible, grim, depressing. Oh, fuck. You weren't there either. But then you were.
But they are given a different reason from this. But let's dive into what this concept would have meant. The Marines fought first, then Ultimis took over, all apparently sparked by this lost quest. It also leaves a lingering question about how Ultimis got here, that's still left unexplained. Did they die here after a previous cycle, or has Richtofen only just awakened the test subjects? If they had already completed a journey and survived, it's surely evidence of the cycle, showing just how they fought everything and restarted. If it isn't, it becomes much harder to explain how they ended up in America or through some sort of space-time distortion before any of the space-time shattering events they would commit were done in the fractures we saw in Black Ops 3 Zombies. So how did Nacht Untoten end up in that cornfield? The document confirms it was temporarily displaced, ripped from Germany by Moon's rockets, disrupting space-time and dumped in Washington state amid the apocalypse. That's the how, a chaotic side effect of Earth's destruction thanks to Maxis and Richtofen. But the why ties into that side quest. It was meant to be a bridge, a physical link between timelines, and our first big clue to the cyclical nature of the Ether story. This one would even sort of confirm that old fan theory that we ourselves had written the wall chalk in Nacht Untoten. This version of Dead Ultimis could very well be the ones behind writing instructions for their past selves. Trek didn't finish the quest, likely due to TranZit'S already insane scope and them having to get the map ready in time for release, with so many things getting cut from the game and with very obviously poor management as shown by these documents or a tight launch deadline, but instead they left the building in the launch version of the map as a relic of their bigger vision they once had planned. So next time you pass it, remember you were walking by a piece of the cycle that almost changed everything. I really do wonder if Trek ended up launching with this route, how different the zombie cycle could be. There might have never been a premise per se, but rather it would have just been what we now know as Ultimis, but they would have probably never been given this name, constantly fighting in a cycle, ending up in this case in TranZit, in America, for whatever reason, and God knows where they would end up in future versions of the cycle. Now let's hop on the bus and tackle the other TranZit legend, Bus Route B. From the second we met t.e.d.d, the robot driver hauling us through the fog, players were convinced there was more to his route. The idea of a secret second path, one splitting off to hidden stops or tying into Nacht Untoten somehow, took over the community. Back in the day, this was more than a theory. It was an obsession. Forums lit it up, YouTube videos racked up with millions and millions of views, and players used defog glitches and scoured the map for proof. Bus Route B became the holy grail of TranZit's secrets, a second tunnel that would take you somewhere else. And it all started with a couple of tantalizing clues. For the first, check the bus depot. There's a map on the wall showing the route. Bus depot, diner, farm, power station, town. Some swore it hinted at multiple paths, like a fork we couldn't find. There was definitely something to this idea. Visually, you can quite clearly see a second bus route on the map. Over on the right side, there's a very clearly labelled B for a second route. The issue is we can't really make out where either route goes. Then there's the tunnel sign between power and town. Day X/2 me. Fans pieced it together as They cross over to me, guessing broken letters hid the full message. But cross over to what? A second route, obviously, is what people said. And could day mean being sent back to transit in the daytime? Since obviously people hated how dark the map was at the time, or even before its destruction, as depicted in some of the calling cards for the map, and like was even planned in the leaked developer documents, they wanted to do a daytime version. But anyways, it's especially interesting it mentions day because the first bus route mentioned on the map specifically calls out no night service. This mystery sent players scrambling, glitching out of bounds, hunting triggers, swearing they found paths in the mist. The hype was unreal. We wanted Bus Route B to exist so badly, we convinced ourselves anything was a clue. These leaked documents, though, I've torn through them, every scrap, and here's the bad news. Bus Route B isn't real. It's not there. Not a single mention. These documents are bursting with cut ideas, such as NPC survivors, which we wouldn't end up seeing until years later with exo-zombies infection, modern warfare zombies, and there's probably some other instances I'm forgetting. There's even cut ideas of wild modes like encounters, even the Nacht Untoten side quest that I mentioned before, but a second bus route? Dead silence. The documents detail the bus system extensively, a single loop through fog zones, scavenging parts, and keeping t.e.d.d moving when he broke down. These were all planned, but there's only one route, no more. No forks, no alternatives. Not even a hint in the craziest concepts in the ideation files. It seems like Treyarch never really planned a Bus Route B, and these hints were either accidents or just kind of trolling the community or intentionally trying to spark speculation in the community without any actually existing. Even without proof, the Bus Route B hunt was legendary. It kept TranZit alive for months, that thrill of chasing something bigger. The documents might say it's never been real, but the community's drive was real. Next time t.e.d.d grumbles about detours, you'll know one route's all we ever got, so to pay him no mind. Treyarch never planned a second bus route on the map. Yes, TranZit has more cut content than almost any map in Zombies history, but Bus Route B was never on the table, unfortunately, unless some documents are missing from the leaked hard drive. But currently there's no evidence. So there you have it, TranZit's biggest mysteries cracked open. Nacht Untoten was temporarily displaced by Moon's rockets and was intended for a side quest to revive Ultimis, setting the cycle in motion years ahead of time. Bus Route B is a fan-made legend. No truth in the documents, just pure community hype. And I think that is one of the sparks that makes Zombies so special. We love coming up with these fan ideas and speculation and theories. I mean, hunting for the Giant's Easter egg that never ended up being real is really what sparked my channel, and whilst we never ended up finding anything concrete and most of them ended up just being visual glitches, etc., it doesn't matter. It was so much fun hunting the unknown. And unfortunately, with modern day data mining and stuff like that, we tend to know when most Easter eggs are discovered, and that's why the more ambiguous Easter eggs, such as the impossible Easter egg we've been hunting in Black Ops 3, have been a lot more fun because it's something that cannot be easily data mined. Nowadays, everyone knows if there's an Easter egg there or not, unless it's something more cryptic. But back in the day, we were not as privy to how the technology and how these games worked and operated and how Treyarch operated, and so it's unlikely in the modern day that we come up with these crazy wild theories about unsolved secrets and mysteries on the maps just waiting there for someone to pry open. Nowadays that speculation literally isn't there just because we are more knowledgeable, and I think there's kind of a spark missing. That was what made Zombies so much fun in the early days in World at War, especially when we were piecing together the story clues. It was all so mystical back then, and I'm afraid with us becoming more knowledgeable, it's kind of lost a bit of that magic. But regardless, in this video we got a mind-blowing peek at Treyarch's grand plan with the Nacht Untoten Ultimis crew, and the others a bittersweet goodbye to a dream of hope with Bus Route B. It's certainly one of the most unique Zombies experiences to play, despite it not really being that fun to just hop on and experience, but it has that intrigue there, largely brought on by the misty fog, and these answers only make our understanding of it deeper. But what do you think? Are you shocked by this Nacht Untoten finding? Sad about never being a bus route B planned? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and what else from the leaked developer documents you would like to see me take a look at. Now, I do want to say, with Black Ops 7 Zombies on the horizon and the teaser teasing some kind of vehicle similar to the bus, regardless of whether it actually is the bus or some other vehicle, there seems to be some sort of vehicle on the map. So could we get a transit-like map that's kind of, you know, a homage to Bus Route B all these years later? It's definitely very well possible, especially if it ends up taking place in Liberty Falls like I've been speculating that could have been this lost idea of a Bus Route B, especially with a similar train system and tunnel that we see on the outskirts of the map. But anyways, thank you for watching the video, and make sure to subscribe if you're not here for latest and greatest Call of Duty news information. So anyways, thank you for watching, and bye. To conclude this video, I want to shout out the fact that I finally decided to make a Patreon and Cameo account, both of which will be linked below if you want to help support the channel. On Patreon, you can sign up for the lowest tier of just $1.50 a month to get exclusive access for my Discord, where we can discuss the zombies lore, trivia, or whatever you desire. A place where you lot, my community, can better connect. Your names will also appear at the end of videos thanking you. For $5.50 a month, you get all of that, and I will be doing exclusive monthly Q&As. And for $16.50 a month, you again get all of that, and I will be doing exclusive lore videos, such as unpacking niche parts of the Treyarch documents I've been breaking down on my channel that don't as much suit a main channel video. For the highest tier, only for those with the ability to and who really want to help out the channel, you get special bonuses I've yet to determine and verbal shoutouts at the end of every video. Over on Cameo, I can do funny videos reading lines from zombies, memes like "How do we tell him?", birthday wishes for friends or family, or whatever else you desire, practically anything. Of course, none of this is necessary, just watching and enjoying the videos helps me immensely and I greatly appreciate it. However, I think it's about time I start setting up additional revenue streams because Zombies' popularity is tumultuous and always goes through ups and downs. As I'm sure you've lately seen on the channel, viewership is down a lot. We go through big highs when new games release, but then during these drought periods, I need more income stability so I don't have to worry as much about it, and I can focus more on improving the quality of the content. My highest quality videos are not always the ones that best please YouTube algorithms, so instead, this way I can produce my best work knowing I don't have to think as much about how well the content's going to perform. So if you'd like to support me on Patreon for exclusive content or would like a simple Cameo message, you can do so to further support me via the links below, but only if you can afford it and you actually want to help me. Don't feel like you are forced to, don't worry, I'll survive. It would just help relieve some of the pressure during inconsistent periods on the channel, so I don't have to solely rely on AdSense revenue and still maintain the sheer quantity and quality of content that I put out. Obviously, I pump out literally a boatload of content, and some of these are absolutely crazy projects over hour-long videos, so it's a lot on my plate, especially when these videos don't perform particularly well. And I've not been doing many sponsorships lately to help supplement revenue either, so it would greatly help. Thank you for any generous person once again who does kindly support the channel. It means the absolute world and will really help keep this boat